Hi, just a quick one. I don't know why I've not done a video up to now, but I suppose I just couldn't do it. Um, so a few weeks ago, I had Percy, my Sphinx. I'd noticed that he dropped a bit of weight. He looked like he suddenly just had dropped weight and his bones were starting to stick out and his spine was looking, pretty prominent. And I thought, this doesn't look right. Don't like this. It's making me uncomfortable. I just changed vets to a different one because our regular one that I absolutely loved going to, with me not being able to drive, felt like worlds away. The footpaths weren't something I'd want to do with a carrier on me, and it was quite a distance to get to. So I decided to change vets, and thankfully I did, because they do a service that they, for a little bit more than a standard fee for seeing a vet, one of their people will come out and basically pick up your cat and take it back to the vets, and they'll do the appointment and then phone you up to give you the outcome. And I phoned up. I wanted this in place so I had something for Gizmo, with him being the older cat and him having what was detected heart problem, but never the second part of going back up there and getting bloods was never actually done, because I was struggling to get up there. And when I did get up there, the vets itself wasn't wheelchair friendly. It was ridiculous. I could guarantee that somebody would park where the drop curb was, the one drop curb, and I'd have to ring up the vets and get somebody to move their car. And the one time where I had Alfie needing to be put to sleep. He couldn't breathe and there was a car in the way, and I was having to ring him up, and somebody that was also going to the vets with their dog was like, shall I take him inside for you? And I was like, yes please, but I was stressed because I just wanted to be able to just get in and him in at the vets. Anyway, it was a very poor layout at their surgery, and I meant to move, but I loved how they were and what they were like with the cats and with me, and they were accommodating. It was just the actual building itself with the drop curb getting in that was an absolute nightmare. And further down the retail park on that side, there were other drop curbs, but they were all at angles, so it was like not safe. And I made the decision, I've got to move, because the cats aren't getting their updates on healthcare, how they are, if they need something simple or whether they need something more serious. I need to be registered somewhere else. So I decided to move vets, and I phoned up this vet called Perfect Vets that's not far away from me. I need to do a trip down to see exactly where they are, and I might do that today if I feel up to it. I might just take myself off and just go and have a look and see where the vet is, and just to give me an idea of whether it's suitable for me to go in the chair rather than them coming to fetch, although coming to fetch is the easier option for me. but I just want to know in my head, oh yeah, it's only there for future reference, you know. I mean, this vets isn't wheelchair friendly for getting in, and they've got a ramp, and if they know that you're coming, they'll put the ramp out and stuff, so it's all ready. So anyway, I noticed that Percy was looking a bit skinnier than normal. And yeah, his ribs weren't too prominent, but it was the spine. You could see it right along the top of him, and that concerned me. And I said, I just want him looking at, kind of thing. I'm going to make an appointment. Anyway, the Friday night, I thought, right, I'll do it start of next week. And then on the Friday, he suddenly, there was a really strong smell of poo. I was in here, and suddenly he came into here, the kitchen, and he sat on me, and the smell was really strong, and I thought, oh, you know, an instant reaction. I was like, get down, because I wanted to clean him up, because I noticed he had poo on his tail and on his back leg, and I was like, ugh. And I looked down and I was covered in it, and I thought, well, I'll deal with cleaning them up first, and then I'll clean myself up. And and that's what I tried to do. I mean, he climbed up onto the cupboard, so he was like literally on top of here, hiding, and I had to get my son to reach him down, and as soon as he brought him down, he was back up there again. And I went into the living room quickly just to see how bad, you know, because I thought, well, has he gone in the tray? He actually had been sick, all in my chair where I've got my foot muff, and there was poo also there. So I thought he must have backed into it as he was being sick. I managed to get him down. My son got him down. I thought I'll clean that up in a minute. Can only do one thing at a time. Then I got an old towel and I basically cleaned him up, and then I folded my top because it was long over. And he tried going, he just wanted to go to sleep on me, he wanted comfort. And so I grabbed hold of him, let him sleep on me. I thought I'll clean myself up in a minute. I don't know, I've got a really strong constitution for sick and poop. I know when I worked in a nursery, it was always me that was given the job of cleaning up the kids, because how many times there were staff members that were like, oh, I can't do that. And I thought, for God's sakes, you're in the wrong bloody job. You know, I can't deal with sick and I can't deal with poop. So when they were really bad, it was me that had to clean them up. Anyway, and then once he's settled and calmed down and everything, I then put him on where I sleep in the living room, and I got the foot muff. I basically took it to the toilet, chucked the sick and the poop down the loo, and just basically put it to the machine and got it washed. And I can't, you know, his eyes just looked really like dry, not sparkly. They looked dull. I thought, this doesn't look right. This reminds me of Alfie before he passed away, and I've seen with other cats, you know, that look of where they don't look good. And you know when they're sort of clinging on to life. and he was constantly hungry, but he wasn't eating. He would like be interested in liquids, so I thought, is he diabetic? um you know, I had goat's milk powder here, because he really liked it, and I thought it's a way of getting liquids into him. And I decided I didn't give it him that often because he would end up with a really dodgy tummy. He would just want to eat and eat, you know, drink it a lot. So I decided, I've got this in the cupboard, I'll use some of it, and he was drinking it. So, and then the treat tubes that they have with like a puree of like Licky Licks, he would have those, but he was more interested with the cat food, the jelly, and that was it. So he wasn't really getting a lot of food in. And when I rang up the vets, I said, look, I need to see somebody. I'm not sure what it is. So Tuesday, I'd been paid, and they arranged for the vet nurse arranged to come and pick him up and take him back to the vets, and the vet would have a look at him. And the vet that I had for him, honestly, she was awful, and talking to me in great big words which I didn't understand, and they sort of said, yeah, that it was, they weren't sure if it was FIP at the stage, and I was like thinking, oh, I've heard of FIP, oh, that's not too bad, it's treatable kind of thing, and was reading up on it. And he just constantly was like retching, and like as if he was really trying to be sick and couldn't. And I've seen that before with him, it's not new. And I always thought it was Peaches, that because he used to groom her and she's really fluffy, whether it was a fur ball that wouldn't quite come up. And anyway, I explained all this, and they checked him out, and they said, oh, we think it might be FIP. And I know from following Furball Farm over in the US, that's a cat sanctuary, they have had cats with FIP, and it's like the don't worry kind of thing. It's a treatable illness, but it depends on the stage of it. You know, he'd lost an awful lot of weight, and anyway, I was given some anti-inflammatory stuff for him to have, which I was like, yeah, I'll give it him. And he was still, the week following, still being bad. And on Saturday, I messaged the vets on Facebook, and I said, look, this is what he's like. And I sent a video, and he was retching and coughing, and he was awful, and he was really, really struggling. And I just thought, this isn't good. At one point, I mean, Wednesday before, I was ready to let him go. He was that poorly looking. His eyes looked so dull. And I was thinking, what the hell is going on? There's whatever's up with him. He's like struggling to live, basically. And if I've got to let him go, I'll let him go. And I didn't want to, but I contacted the vets, and they were like, keep going with the meds. And then Saturday I sent the video of how he was, and I said, look, this is what he's like, rather than trying to explain, this is what you can see him as. And he showed this, well, he said, give us a call on Monday if he hasn't improved. We were hoping that the medication would have been enough to have sorted him out, kind of thing. And anyway, Monday, I phoned up. I got paid on the Tuesday. He was picked up later that day, because I had emergencies and stuff, and it's like they do this picking up when they can kind of thing. As soon as there's no emergencies, somebody will come and get him. And the vet nurse that's seen him the past couple of times has been consistent. He was the one that took him. And with another vet, they looked, and then they said, well, they said, no, he's not got FIP. All of a sudden, they were like, yes, he has. The vet was like, we need to give him this medication, which is X amount of hundreds of pounds now. And I was thinking, I don't have hundreds and hundreds of pounds. But I'd find a way. I'd go without, just so he could have what he needed to make him well again. And the vet was talking over my head, didn't understand, I couldn't process what was being said to me. The vet nurse was like, you know, even if he has this medication inside him, there is an awful lot going on in his system. There's too much going on. It wouldn't be enough to save him. You know, if you give the meds and we try and treat the FIP, there's a big chance that there's so much other stuff going on that the other stuff is just going to just not be enough to save him. There's going to be other things, and but all the treatments and stuff, it's an awful lot of examinations and x-rays and bloods and this and that and the other, and it would cost an awful lot of money, and you'd still have no cat at the end of it. And I saw how he was and how I'd been round the clock with him through the night and stuff, and I said, you know what, I said, he's lost such a lot of weight, and they even said that over the weekend, from the time that they'd last seen him, that he was he'd lost so much more weight. He's not getting any better, and his tummy was swelling as well. He couldn't get comfortable on me, he kept tossing and turning, you know, and I just reached the decision that it's not about me, it's about him, it's about quality of life and what the better option is. And I felt that the better thing for him was to let him go. He looked so miserable. He looked so miserable, and he would hide. I've got a freezer bag on top of my fridge, and he would go and sit in there to hide away. And I know when they hide, that's a sign of end of life, because it's like they're taking themselves off to go and be away from everybody else. So, you know, it's a sign that that's what they do, they go off. And I didn't want to be losing him, because, you know, he's still very young, he's 3. But I equally wouldn't want to put him through any more suffering, and he was really struggling. He was struggling with breathing, he was struggling, he couldn't eat anything, he kept throwing up, and it was just so miserable for him. It's awful. And so I decided that was it. I wanted to let him go. I wanted to let him go. And I just thought, all the money in the world ain't gonna save him. And I don't have all the money in the world, but even if I did, it wouldn't be enough. So I thought, he's suffered enough, you know, he's had a good week with me, and a few times I thought, do I need to let him go now? Because he really was struggling. He's been poked and prodded, he's had enough of being poked and prodded, it's time to let him go, and that's what I did. And losing him was so hard, because when he came here, you know, he was let go at home, he was on my lap, and they were really nice. and kind. And I miss him so much. I do feel really guilty because at the end of the day, I just think, what if it was because I couldn't afford to just do the meds or just do some of the aftercare, the treatments and stuff. What if? And I thought, but there's nothing. You know, I could have paid for the medicine and I could have paid for the treatments and I could have paid for the follow-ups and I still would have lost him. And then there's the watching him struggling to breathe, watching him struggle, and he just looked so miserable. And I thought, I've got to let him go. I've got to do what's the kindest option for him. And I just decided. So Tuesday, I had him put to sleep. It wasn't what I wanted as an outcome. I would have loved to still have him here, but having to let him go was really hard. I've lost many cats, you know, over the 14 years of having cats. I have. I mean, there's Jay, there's Sadie, there's Elsa and Alfie, Bob, Charlie, Minnie. But Judy, Minnie, Nina, you know, I wouldn't have had them, you know, any other way. I've given them so much love and all that, but it's like at the end of the day, I've got to let them go when the time is right. I mean, I'd rather let them go a day earlier than a day late. That's always my philosophy. I'd rather let them go a day earlier than a day later where they're struggling. And there's been a couple of cats where sadly it has been a day late and I've hated what's happened. With Alfie, it was out of my control. His heart just suddenly decided to let go. With Elsa, it was cancer. With Minnie and the, you know, her diabetes situation and the weight loss and all the other bits and bobs. Oh, it's heartbreaking. It doesn't get any easier, you know, whether it's the first cat you let go or the 5th or the 10th, you know. I want to get some pictures done of all of my cats that I've lost. Have like a bit of a montage to them all. Yeah, I would. I'd love it. I keep thinking I'll do it and it just hasn't happened yet, but I will. When the time's right, I will do it. But yeah, I miss him so much. I mean, I've got footage of him and it's just not nice to see, you know, coughing and spluttering and they said, oh, you'll have had it for some time, but they hide it. They know how to hide their illnesses. So it's often detected when it's that too late kind of thing. So, anyway. He's at peace. And I miss him so much, I really do. Oh, awful having to let him go. I'd give anything to have him back. So now I'm on to 5 cats. Part of me would love another Sphinx. I sort of think get a lot of expenses out of the way, get Christmas out of the way and the winter bills, and then have a think. So either a Sphinx or something along the lines of when the time's right and I'm ready. Because at the minute I want to get all 5 of my cats checked at the vets and just get the weights done and just checkups in general, just make sure they're okay. I mean, I know myself that they're fine. It's just Gizmo is my concern. Just make sure his heart is okay. And then take it from there. It's just been so hard letting go of him because he was my lap magnet, as I called him. Always on my lap, always wanting my fuss and attention, and oh, I just miss him so much. Anyway, shall I love and leave?